ladies as well as gentlemen, Papa Boris is back for some more Hearthstone Arena action. After a crazy red-eye late-night Hearthstone Arena marathon, we're back to the official series here. I am on vacation from Warlock because, for me, they suck. And I want to be careful how I say that. For me, they suck. I do read that other people have had good success with them and get actually consistent results by playing an aggro style of drafting, which I'm just not that thrilled with. So, it works. It's something that I'm going to have to like steep into and learn how to do properly, but for now I'm just going to leave Warlocks alone. Rogue was the last official video that I did, so we're going to go ahead and do Priest. The last Priest run I did was Light Shall Burn. Here we go. We've got a really good start with the Injured Blade Master. It's a 4/3 for 3 mana that as a Priest I can heal back up to make him even better. So it's an easy call right there of those 3 drops. Here, I'm not going to take the Raging Worgen, although the Raging Worgen is definitely a really good card, because I do have a 3-drop. Let's take a Stranglethorn Tiger. This is just one of my favorite cards in the game. Your opponent almost can't kill this thing. I mean, mages can, like, freeze it, and then Flame Strike it, and, like, Warlocks can Shadow Flame it, but, like, for the most part, that thing is pretty much invincible the turn it drops into play. And then it swings for 5 damage, which is just crazy, crazy good. So I'm going to take it here. Raging Worgen, again, very good card. It's just that this is also, I think, a really good card. And, you know, I might as well keep things balanced. If I got a 3-drop on 3-mana card on my pick 1, I'll take a 5-mana card on my pick 2. Okay, the Stormwind Champion is great, but I'm not going to miss this opportunity to grab a Cult Master. It's just so nice. I've learned you don't necessarily have to have like a super aggressive mana curve for this to work. You often don't really play it on turn 4 anyway. It's much more of like the board is stalemated, you get your Cult Master down, all of a sudden you trade creatures and draw 2 cards, G to the G. Okay, here I could take the Silence, and it's nice to have some Silence in your deck, or I could just take the 2-drop that might also double as an ability resetter. At the moment, there's nothing particularly great to panda back, but Priests do have 2 class-specific Silence cards, so I'm just going to grab the Panda because it's got a better body. Alright, the Ooze is nice as an out against weapons, but I'm going to take the Boulder Fist Ogre because this is a premier 6-drop, so I want to make sure I've got the late game here. Mind Control. Well, while it's still in its unnerved form, I will grab the Mind Control here. However, if this were 10 mana, I'd probably take the Rate Leader, because I think if Mind Control cost 10 mana, as it will after the patch in December, then I really wouldn't want to play with more than 1, and so I wouldn't want to take it this early in the draft, just in case I get another one later. But here, at 8 mana, I will of course take the Mind Control. Alright, Pints of Summoner is nifty, but Twilight Drake is just a Chillwind Yeti on crack, so I'm going to take it very, very happily here. Here we get a total garbage pack. Jesus sucks. Man. Divine Spirit, I don't like that card, because you're doubling something's health, and so either it'll be really, really good, or your opponent will just polymorph it. I'm not a super big fan of taking those odds. We'll take the Elven Archer here for a point of damage. That can sometimes make all the difference. Okay, the Master is very good, but the Defender of Argus adds some taunt. I currently have 0, and the buffing, which I also currently have 0. So we'll take this, even though it is spiking my curve a little bit. Here we'll just take one of the best cards in the game overall, the Argent Commander. It is a fantastic 6-drop. And here we'll take the Harvest Golem, which is a fantastic 3-drop. So we have a series of very easy picks. Now I have to choose between Shadow Form and the Cabal Shadow Priest. Now, Shadow Form is obviously very good, but I found that it's not very good early in the game. It's sort of a late-game card. Even I've noticed, even when your opponent has nothing on the board on turn 3, you still don't really want to Shadow Form, because you go a card down, and the Shadow Form effect may not help against good creatures your opponent is imminently dropping. Now, the Cabal Shadow Priest is a Chillwind Yeti that costs 2 more mana, and you can steal something. I'm actually gonna grab it. We'll gear up for a late game deck here. Well, Lightwell is nifty and all, but we'll take the Knife Juggler. I've seen, like, swear to God, 4 of these damn things. We'll take a Knife Juggler, though. I have a feeling Knife Juggler is gonna get nerfed at some point. It's a 3/2 for 2, which is totally fine. It's got the vanilla creature stats, plus an amazing ability, so I have a feeling they're gonna make it a 2/2 for 2 someday. You heard it here, folk. First, we'll take Shadow Word Death as removal against big things. All I really want now is Shadow Word Pain. Acolyte of Pain is not as good as Shadow Word Pain. We'll take a Holy Smite here for some early removal. That's fine to have. And a second Tiger? Or I could... How desperate am I for taunt? Desperate enough to take this? No. We'll take another Tiger. Seems fine to me. Lightspawn, one of my favorite 4-drops. Love that guy. That's great. I could take a Spiteful Smith just for the stats, but I'm actually going to take the Fairy Dragon here, so it gives me a little bit more early game. I'm not a fan of this Lord when I already have this much late game, and the fact that it can't be targeted is really irritating for a lot of classes. You know, Mages can't Frostbolt it, rogues can't backstab it. It's really good against mages, I think, is why I like it so much. Mages can't pick it off with their hero ability. It's just amazing. So we're going to take the Fairy Dragon here. I'm learning to really appreciate that card. So here we have an interesting choice. The Gorobashi Berserker is a 5-mana card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Currently, 5 and 6 mana creatures. This will put it up to 6, which is fine. I just don't like that this dies to Stampeding Kodo. I've been burning that too much. The problem is these cards are way too mediocre for me to consider them, so we'll take the Gorobashi there. Alright, I could take another Twilight Drake, but I'm going to pause for a moment here because I don't think it's the right choice. I think the Cobra, for dealing with creatures on the board, and the Abomination, to hold the fort and then let everything else die, need to be picked over the Twilight Drake, because I really don't have that much removal here. All I've really got is the Holy Smite and the Shadow Word Death. No Holy Nova, no Shadow Word Pain. Just a Mind Control, I guess. You have to count that, and maybe the Cabal Shadow Priest, sort of. So I kind of do need the removal. I think we'll take the Emperor Cobra. It's a bit less risky than the Abomination, and then it'll give me an out against big things. Alright, well, man, I guess I'll take another Mind Control. These other cards are sort of mediocre. But again, if this were 10 mana, I'm not sure I would be so cavalier about that. Okay, we'll take this nice guy here. I don't really think there's anything good for me to Panda back, but it's just a 5/4 4 mana, and that's great. Don't need the spell damage with just a Holy Smite. And the Panther, I'm not a super big fan of at all. Alright, Power Word Shield is nifty, but we'll take the Ventricule Mercenary. That is a giant. Fits in with our endgame plans, and the Flesh-Eating Ghoul is also a giant of its own form. Do I take 2 Cult Masters? I don't think so. Do I take this just because I need some more taunt? This is just so mediocre, I really can't handle it. Do I pick a Leper Gnome over the Cult Master? So the Cult Master, having 2, they're very fragile, and it's just too likely that they're going to be sitting in your hand with nothing to do. I'll take a Leper Gnome here for some early game hold up. And enjoy that. Mind Blast, I really don't want to take a second Panda. Well, let's see. I've got 1, 2 2-drops, 3. Yeah, I'll take a 4th over a 3rd 1-drop. All right. Well, here I can take another Shadow Word Death, or here I can get my Silence. Well, other than the Cult Master, I don't really have any card drawing effects, so I could just, use this as sort of quasi-card draw. It's not giving me any net upgrade, but it is giving me knowledge of my opponent's hand and a card from it. I guess we'll take that over the Silence and the Shadow Word Death. Again, I don't want 2 Shadow Word Deaths. It's just too risky that they're going to be both stuck in my hand. If that were a Shadow Word Pain, of course I would have taken it. Do I take another Cult Master now over the Reckless Rocketeer? God, I hate that Rocketeer so much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards at 5 and 6. This is, you know what? This is like removal, I guess, and I am pretty desperate for removal, so we'll take it here. Gosh, Shadow Word Death. That's not what I want. I already have one, and it's already fine. Oh my gosh, this is trouble. This is trouble with a capital T -ble. Okay, so let's go ahead and pick up Thoughtsteal here for a little bit more card drawing potential. And Wild Pyromancer is really the only card I really want to play here, so we'll grab it. And that's the deck. So it's definitely not the best card or the best priest deck that I've ever drafted in my entire life. That is for sure. But it's got a lot of good creatures in it, and it's got a really strong endgame. The weakness is a lack of removal. So it's possible that my opponent will play lots of big things, and I'll regret passing on those 2 Shadow Word Deaths, but I really don't want those clogging up my hands either, especially when, given how much I'm lacking in removal, I'm going to be very, very reliant on board overwhelmation, if that is a word, in order to secure the victories for this deck. Alright, so that is it for the draft. The game is finding our worthy opponent here. Priest is a very consistent class for me. I almost always make it to at least 6. There was just like one time when I only had 4, and this was out of like 14 runs. So I do feel pretty good about it. But again, almost always making it to 6 isn't super exciting, because 6, of course, is failure. And we'd like to get up to 7. So Soulbush the Mage. Pretty easy mulligan choice here. We're just going to keep our 3-drop. Flesh-Eating Ghoul against mages, given that they have the Frostbolt. I'm not super pumped or optimistic about its odds for survival, but at least it's there to drop down and eat one of my opponent's cards. Let's go ahead and grab the Panda on turn 2, or even this Fairy Dragon I just top decked. So the thing about the Panda is if I don't play it now, it's not going to be playable. Okay, now I'm definitely going to play the Panda. So with this Worgen dropping down, the Panda is definitely the play. I don't want to lose the Fairy Dragon to this Worgen Infiltrator, because I want the Fairy Dragon sitting here annoying my opponent and not dying to Frostbolts or hero ability and stuff like that. So they both die, of course. Does my opponent have a play for turn 2? She still has the coin, because the Worgen was a 1-mana card. She's going to play a Bloodfen Raptor. Ah, jeez. Well, balls. So I could play the Fairy Dragon here and have it trade against the Bloodfen. The thing is, I don't use up all my mana that way, but if I play the Flesh-Eating Ghoul, my superior creature dies to the inferior one. So even though it means not using up all my mana, we'll play the Fairy Dragon. Now this is a pretty good chance of trading against the Raptor, because even with the Shattered Sun Cleric support, this thing still dies to the Fairy Dragon, and Frostbolt and Hero ability cannot target this thing. Really, the only thing that could kill this is an Arcane Missile, which has a 50-50 chance of killing the Fairy Dragon. We'll see if that happens or not. Alright, she's gonna hit me for 3. She's counting on me to make the trade, and I will. Little does she know that if she leaves us alive, the Flesh-Eating Ghoul will come down, making her wish she had traded last turn. Unless, of course, she has a Frostbolt, in which case she doesn't really care how I do it. Here comes the coin. Is that gonna be some kind of a taunter? It's a Water Elemental. Oh, man, that's a really frustrating creature to see. Damn it. It doesn't... Okay, so here's the thing. Defender of Argus buffs the Fairy Dragon, but not enough to kill the Water Elemental. Unfortunately. It would only hit the Water Elemental down to 2, and this thing would still die. So that's no good. The Flesh-Eating Ghoul, I could trade these, and this would be a 4-3. That's not enough to kill the Water Elemental, but the Water Elemental does kill it. So what I think I'm going to do here is, again, I'm not going to use up all my mana. I'm going to play the Emperor Cobra. Yeah, this Panda also doesn't really kill the Water Elemental, which is really frustrating. This Water Elemental being a 3-6 is just so obnoxious. I wish it were a Chillwind Yeti at a 4-5, then I could actually get rid of it. My opponent's going to silence the Cobra, which is extremely irritating. In some ways, it's even more irritating than a Frostbolt would have been, because if this were a Frostbolt, she wouldn't be having another creature on the board. So now it's kind of annoying. Oh, yeah, this sucks. Well, I think what I'm going to do here... I could play the Twilight Drake. It's a Chillwind Yeti. Actually, that's good. I was going to play the Tiger, but this is actually fine, because it's a 4-5. It can hold up against both these creatures. My opponent would have to use the Spellbreaker plus Hero ability to finish this thing off. So I'm definitely on the back foot this game, although I had a really aggressive start with 2 2-drops, a 3-drop, and a bunch of 4-drops. My opponent, with that Worgen Infiltrator trading away from my Panda, made a huge difference. Ah, damn. Fireball, well, you know, it's just another day at the office playing against mages. They kill all your shit, and then, you can't do anything. Okay, well, now I think is the time for the Tiger. So the problem is that I had no way to stop getting hit for another 7 damage, so I'm going out of 13 health against a mage, which is not exactly what I want to do at all. But at least I'm a priest, I can heal. And I can maybe play Defender of Argus, buff this up into a taunt, stop other creatures from hitting me, and then heal up behind it and hope for the best. We'll see how it goes. So I'm down to 13. There's a Loot Hoarder. Okay. Oh man, even with Defender of Argus now, this isn't looking very hot for me. Damn it. I guess I could play the Flesh-Eating Ghoul and Defender of Argus. That would have to be the play. That would have to be my play next turn. Yep. So what I have to do, there's a billion different ways that I could end up losing. Like Flame Strike, for example, would just pretty much win the game on the spot for my opponent. But we fell on the back foot, and that's just how it's going to end.
Time runs out on me.
Don't mess.
Oh god. Well, it's just this is just one of those games that you're gonna lose. I mean, we had everything that we needed to have. It's just my opponent had better stuff. So the Defender of Argus is the last line of defense here. We're gonna go ahead and kill off the Water Elemental, I think. So we have a fair bit of taunt, but notice how Flame Strike kills everything, and then my opponent wins. She plays Flame Strike, I'm just gonna concede. There's really no coming back after that. Not with this board and me not having any Holy Novas. Well, it's not Flame Strike, so that's something. Could a miracle have taken place and she's actually out of removal? We'll see. Just gonna draw another card, which is smart. Especially because the hero ability will finish off the Tiger now at this point.
to do? What to
Well,
do?
what do we got here? Oh, is that a cone of cold? So my stuff can't attack. This thing still taunts, but it also dies. I see. That was a good move. So this guy can't attack and trade. I didn't take that silence. Cabal Shadow Priest does not take this, unfortunately. Well, we only have one move here to even try to survive. It's to play the panda. Put this back into my hand and replay him, making me a 6/5 taunt. Now, that's not that great against mages, frickin' mages, because this will actually just run in, and the hero ability will finish us off, leaving her with another 6 mana to work with here. Looks like that is what she's gonna do. Frickin' mages. With their spells and their hero ability.
Wanna blow something up?
Mad Bomber. Oh my god. Of course. Of course. That is... Well, at least it didn't hit this thing, but still, that's so obnoxious. Down goes my mighty panda. And a shield master. Alright. Well, shoot. I can't steal anything with this Cabal Priest because these are both at 3. Ugh. Well, let's play this, run it in, see if I draw Holy Smite, maybe? Thought Steal. Well, sure. Let's do it. Violet Teacher and Polymorph. That would have been nice to have. I'm in big trouble now because my opponent gets to hit me for 6 down to 4 health. She's gonna heal up. I will draw a card and then concede. I don't see any way to put any obstacles in her way here. The Defender of Argus did all that he could. It wasn't good enough against this mage's fast start and her being a mage. She still has 4 mana left. She could do even more things, potentially. Frost Nova. Well, that is the icing on the shit cake. Mages. Well, hopefully... You know, actually, the last time I really hated mages was, I'm not going to give a little play to that. The last time that I played a mage as and really hated them was when I was a priest and lost 3 games to mages while crushing everyone who wasn't a mage. So hopefully that doesn't happen again here. I'd be really pissed if it did. Let's go ahead and play anyone other than a mage, and we should be fine. I think part of the problem against playing mages is that they just have so much removal, and I have so little that it's hard for me to keep even. Against other classes, which, you know, also have removal, like every class has removal, but not quite in such abundance and not quite of such a high quality, I have a bigger chance. Fluffs McKenz. Okay, well, this will be a keeper for sure, and I'll keep the Twilight Drake as well to play out, possibly on the 3rd turn with the coin, or now, nope, on the 4th turn as a big thing. Okay. So the Bane question is, am I going to coin out the Wild Pyromancer on turn 1? Because my opponent didn't do anything. If I do this on turn 2, I have nothing to do. So I'll just pass the turn. If I were a Warlock, maybe I would coin it out, because on turn 2, then I could just draw a card. But with the Priest ability being useless on turn 2, it seems better just to hold off on the coin. Alright, so I get hit for a little bit with the Boar. That's an encouraging sign. It's a really, really bad card. So I'll just put the Wild Pyromancer in front of it. Of course, a Shattered Sun Cleric would allow the Stone Tusk Boar to trade, but that's fine. I'll just go ahead and probably drop one of these 4-drops here. Shadow Word Pain on that guy seems fine to me. So my opponent's not doing anything else there. The Boar is unimpressive. We're going to go ahead and drop a Harvest Golem in front of it. And we have our late game here, barring any Stampeding Kodos for the Gurubashi. This should be really good. We got 4, 5, and the choice of 6s. So no removal, but who needs removal when you've got cards? I'm just kidding. I need removal when I have cards. Removal is very important to have. Yeah. Could be worse is what I'm saying. Okay, well, let's actually kill off this Boar finally. And I could play this. This would be really large. It would, Jesus, it would be a 4/7. The Light Spawn wouldn't kill it, but it would to damage it, so I could just play my own Light Spawn and try to trade into my opponent's Light Spawn. Well, let's actually go ahead and just do this. So we'll do this because if the Light Spawn does run in here, my Harvest Golem, I don't mind using it to finish off the Light Spawn. Now, if my opponent runs the light spawn in and heals it, then okay, I'll have to use the Twilight Drake to trade. However, in that case, he'll have to use 2/5 of his mana healing this back up to make it so that the Golem cannot finish it off after it hits the Twilight Drake. Alright, Holy Smite for the Golem, which is fine. That's why the Golem is so good. It's just popping right back. So it looks like he's deciding to just take care of the Golem and then heal up the light spawn to stop my Drake from being able to kill it. Ooh, there's a card. He should have played that first. You should always draw cards first. So that's good. Mind Control might be nice in a bit. Don't really want to play the Gurubashi here. I don't want to insta-lose the game against the Stampeding Kodo. This guy, with the Twilight Drake's help, will actually kill off the light spawn. And I think I'm going to do that. Although, then I'm just... here's what I want to do, though. That's right. Okay, this is fine. So timing is important. First, you use the Argent Commander. Then you hit the light spawn. That takes it down to just 1, so the Twilight Drake takes less damage that way. Attacking first with the Twilight Drake would have been a mistake, because then the Divine Shield would have only dealt 1 damage. Alright, well, this deck is now working as intended. We have massive board control and also card advantage. The Mass Dispel draws my opponent a card and silences my stuff, which means the Twilight Drake is back down to 1 health, so the Novice Engineer can kill it off, which she is going to do. Well, that was most of my opponent's turn, so I don't particularly mind, especially because we have this coming down on the next turn, and Mind Control is waiting in the wings here. Okay, the Panda I could actually use to Brewmaster back my Argent Commander, and then replay him. This would be on turn 8. I could do it in one fell swoop. Play him, put this back in my hand, and for 6 more mana replay him, get back the Divine Shield, and charge again. So Shadow Word Death comes in to kill my Ogre. Fair enough. And the Alarmabot. Well, I'll kill it. I mean, I might as well. This is if I oh, actually, wow, I can actually steal it. Is it worth stealing that thing? Next turn, I'd put one of these creatures into play. We'll do it just for laughs. I don't know if this is the right decision, but it does allow me to deal 4 extra damage this turn, and then I get a free creature next turn. So I don't want this Panda to come onto the battlefield. That would sort of blow. But any one of these other things coming down, I guess, is totally fine. Mind Vision? Alright, so he might steal my Mind Control. If he steals any of my minions, I don't mind too much. I mean, yes, they're very good minions, but I'm not super bothered. Alright, there's a Wind Fury Harpy. We'll see what I get from my Alarmabot. Light Spawn. Well, that's pretty great. Okay, I'm under no obligation to replay that stupid Alarmabot. Notice how even though I stole it from my opponent, it goes back into my hand. We'll just Mind Control the Wind Fury Harpy. The advantage of this Wind Fury Harpy is that it doesn't die to Shadow Words, so actually my opponent is going to have a devil of a time killing this thing off. He'd need like a Holy Fire or his own Mind Control. Or the Mind Control that he got by using the coin, but or the Mind Vision. But the problem is if he Mind Controls this, I've got the damage. I've got 13... Oh no, I don't actually have the damage, never mind. I have only... I only would have had 8 plus 5 is 13. I would have been 1 short, and I don't have any extra damage in my hand. Well, anyway, my opponent just messed up. He stole my Light Spawn when what he should have stolen was my Wind Fury Harpy. That does attack twice. And he would have gotten to live by a single health point. Not that he had much odds of winning this game, but that would have been the more precise play. So we got crushed by a mage, and then we played up against a seemingly new to average Priest player, and that is the start to the arena. So I hope you enjoyed it. Do please like and or subscribe if you did. And if you would like to see how the arena ends, then stay tuned, because the rest of the games are coming up soon. Till then.